Hi, my name is Braxton White, and I'm going to be talking about the Weed and Seed program. To begin, I'd like to explain a little bit about what the Weed and Seed program is. The Weed and Seed program, first introduced in 1991, is a program where law enforcement and the community can work together to weed out criminals and then seed the area with treatment programs and neighborhood revitalization services. According to ncjrs.gov, residents of Weed and Seed neighborhoods are actively involved in problem solving with neighborhood watches, citizen marches and rallies, cleanup events, drug-free zones, and graffiti removal. The Weed and Seed program focuses on four main components: law enforcement, community policing, prevention, intervention, treatment, and neighborhood restoration. Law enforcement and the community work together on the weeding aspect by weeding out violent criminals and drug traffickers. The prevention, intervention, treatment, and neighborhood restoration portions focus on seeding the community with programs and services to better the community and invite ex-criminals to re-enter the community and receive help. It also invites and guides the community in ways to help clean up and restore neighborhoods. My reasoning in asking for the Weed and Seed program to be implemented in my mock community of Sedona, Wisconsin, was because Sedona is in a very high crime area in Wisconsin that doesn't have much for community policing programs. I identified the need for the Weed and Seed program here because it is a comprehensive approach to deteriorating neighborhoods that is relatively cheap and can be highly effective. The Weed and Seed program's main focus is on high crime areas with violent criminals and drug trafficking, which makes it a good program candidate to be implemented in Sedona. The first steps that I took when researching and planning for this program to be implemented was that I looked back into the violent crime statistics in Sedona over the past 10 years, as well as how many drug-related arrests had occurred. These numbers were very high, so I continued my research into other places where the program had already been introduced, and then researching the success or failure of that program. In many instances, communities were showing less violent crimes as well as less drug-related crimes. So the communities were becoming safer because less criminals were on the streets. The main concerns that Sedona is likely going to run up against when this program is implemented is the obvious increase in incarceration that Sedona will experience. In addition to that, higher incarceration will cost Sedona more money to keep those prisoners locked away. This program will also cost Sedona additional money to pay the salaries of 2 more officers being hired, as well as a Weed and Seed program director being hired. The main issues that I would potentially find based on my research from the existing programs is that some of them fail because of the lack of community involvement. This program needs the continued support of the community and local businesses to keep it going and make it successful. Also, the community needs to be willing to help ex-offenders re-enter the community after they are released from prison. This is an important step that wasn't executed in some areas, which made the program less successful because ex-criminals were roped back into a life of crime and the communities never got that much better. The estimated cost of this program, according to cjcdelaware.com, is an initial cost of $175,000, which was often granted by the U.S. Department of Justice, and then most programs received further funding from the community and local businesses to help keep them going, which means that not much will be out of pocket for Sedona besides the costs to maintain the criminals in jail. That initial cost of $175,000 would be used to pay for a Weed and Seed program director's salary as well as 2 or more police officers' salary. The leftover money would be used to pay for community enrichment programs and help support existing programs in the community that could help contribute to the seeding efforts of this program, like local AA groups and rehab centers. I am justifying all of my expenses because of the possibility for a very safe and inviting community for Sedona. This program will also help rehabilitate and reintegrate criminals back into the communities, which will help maintain how safe the community is. I am further justifying it because if the community is involved enough, Sedona will receive grants that could be used to also offset the costs that the higher incarceration rates will carry with it. In order for this program to be implemented in Sedona, I would begin by having a steering committee selected that is composed of the mayor, the program director, and a mix of public sector representatives and community members. The steering committee will be the backbone of the program and will lead many of the smaller programs that will be organized and take place. I would then implement a victim witness protection program so that people felt safe giving tips to the police. Furthermore, I would organize other programs like foot patrols in specific areas And I would introduce certain community relations activities for the police in the community so that positive interactions take place. Once those positive interactions take place, the foundation of this program will begin to build and hopefully take off, which will make Sedona a safer and more inviting community to live in.